Now, so now we can start starting the meeting here. So again, we got 20 people here, but another 20 people online. As I was saying before, we're probably getting 150, 60 people anyways to watch this afterwards, which is fine. Who did open houses on the weekend? Nobody? Okay. Anybody from home do open houses? Yeah. Who sold a house last week? All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Would you just explain when they're rushed? Were you just saying you sold something?
Yeah, we had the property was in Baby Village, condo townhouse, and stack condo townhouse. And last comparable was November of last year, 750, 760. And same property now sold for 880, 17 offers, listed at 688. And we gave them a bully offer on Friday for 8.
Oh, was you a buyer?
We were a buyer.
Okay, I thought you
so we gave them a bully offer. She said she couldn't get a hold of her people. And then the next day, she said we're going to present around 5. So we thought we were in the running for it. And then lo and behold, 17 offers. And no, we were at 8.
Oh,
I
thought you won. You lost.
12 grand away. We're 12 grand away, and then couldn't justify it.
Sandy, what'd you sell? Did you sell one of your listings or a buyer? Listed in Barrie. Okay, what's going on in Barrie?
So we listed on Thursday, and we held up showings Friday.
Yeah.
And we had first offer midday on Friday, and then 8 more offers on Saturday.
Really? Okay.
How many?
What was these? Maybe like.
Okay, so this is a property in Barrie. It was a bungalow. I think I saw it was an older bungalow, right? Old. Back split. Okay. An estate sale. Okay. All right. And what was the list price? How much was your list price? Okay, 549. This is Barrie, of course.
For comparables, product that was renovated, kitchen, floor
yes.
Was original as a
good.
And
so what was the final sale price then? 616. Okay, so it was not crazy then. Okay, so
can I ask a question?
Yep.
What about the costs and estates? You had the probate already?
Yeah, probate was actually done a while ago. It was kind of emotionally getting themselves prepared for something. It was done.
That's good. So things are happening there. I was reading we're in Waterloo. Their average price hit almost $800,000 in Waterloo. So it's still not at the peak. It's still down around 8 or 9% from last year for Waterloo, but it is starting to pick up again. So this is Barrie picking up. Waterloo starting to pick up. They haven't got the 2022 prices yet, but they're starting to see more activity, right? Anybody else do anything in the last week or so? Any buyers, sellers?
In the 1.2 range, which it was slow for a bit, and then it picked up again.
So 1.2 range in Durham is still very active.
Oshawa one, for example, should have sold for 1.225, and it sold for 1.3, like for 0.
So it should have sold for 1.25. It was sold for 133. Okay. All right.
With multiple.
No, it's going to
44.
25 offers.
Like,
I was talking to somebody last week, and they've got a buyer in the 2.6 range, and they're having a hard time. They're losing now in that range. So it's starting to stretch out. How about the $4 million range? Slow.
Well, steady, but not.
Okay. How about the condominium market downtown? I know somebody's got a property for sale downtown. It's not selling.
It's the
pictures. It's the pictures.
It's got to be the pictures. Can't be the price. Right. At least not.
Yeah, I feel like the lease market.
Lease market is tapered off.
Well, I feel like there's been a bond, I think there was an increase in the last 2 weeks in the listing.
I think.
I've got the numbers here. So.
Is that for sale?
Oh, for these 13 showing.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So last week, I thought things were going along quite well. Things were busy, things happening. And then that's 2 weeks ago. And then last week I felt that maybe it was backing off a little bit. Did anybody feel in the last 3 days, maybe sort of backing off a little bit? Look at Nelson here, but was it just me or did you notice? Sure. So I've noticed this in the last week or so, it actually has backed off just slightly, but then the market itself, the weather itself last week was horrible.
Right. That's right.
And the Maple Leafs were trying to play. Right. So, and if you guys want to get an idea what's going on, just go to your broker bay and go to analytics. If you want to see what's happening, go to showings. And if you do that, you'll see how the showings in the last 3 or 4 days have actually dropped off. I'm not talking about the office, I'm talking about the entire real estate board. So the things have dropped off. So that's why I'm thinking about maybe the sports or something. I don't know, but
I think the market is correlated to these.
Marcus, which I'm sorry.
Correlated to the Leafs.
Oh, okay, maybe. He thinks as the Leafs go, the real estate market goes. So.
The weather was probably.
No, but I think this week the market's going to be picking up again. I think the weather this whole week is supposed to be nice. It's supposed to dry up a little bit. All right, and the weather's just not. It hasn't been there, so I think we'll start to take off. Last week I didn't get a chance myself to see, but last Wednesday we had a presentation by Andrew Fogalato. Fogalato. Oleato. There we go. Anyway, so how many people what'd you think of that? Can you give a synopsis? 60 people went to that. Anybody else here see that? He was talking about marketing, right? The whole thing there was just sell homes. That's his talk. But what was his talk about, Katelyn?
So it's just really cool because he talked about a marketing strategy instead of just ideas of how to find clients. He had like a spin wheel, like how to are you trying to get me on camera?
I want your voice. That's all.
Yeah, so he had a spin wheel and it was all about like how to capture the leads in whatever way. He gave tons of ideas of different ways to get people to like give you their information. Then it was like how to build a conversation with those people and then how to convert those people, then what to do after you've converted it. So he has like a whole wheel. So it wasn't just like what to do when you get the clients, it was how to get the clients, how to keep the clients, how to build, and then even like a follow-up system as well. So if you haven't watched it, it was a really good one. It wasn't on any particular marketing strategies. He had a little bit of old school, like he was talking about like notepads still. Some girls on Reddit famous for her notepads. He was talking about whiskey bottles, engraving like your client's name. So just different ways to market yourself to kind of stand out. So I would go back. I sent it last week as a YouTube recording. So if you guys haven't watched it, I would, or I left a big chunk of notes too. So I would go back and watch that.
And what was he trying to sell?
He didn't really sell, but he does have a marketing company. So I know what he does really well with his Facebook ads. So he'll actually come up with a marketing strategy for you. So if you do reach out to his company, they help you come up with a marketing plan and he will specifically do Facebook ads for you. He obviously charges probably a decent fee for it, but I know he'll sit down with you and help you come up with some sort of personalized marketing strategy. He's also the founder, or not the founder, he's the president or owner of the Real Estate Magazine now. So he obviously knows what he's doing when it comes to marketing and stuff like that, but he's got a really cool brain to pick, which he also will let you do.
Right. So we're trying to introduce somebody new. So we got the Mike Ferries of the world and the Rich Robbins and all these other guys and that, but now we're trying to find next gen guys and that. And this is part of the thing, right?
He's a marketing company, I guess. So he's not a coach like these guys, which is nice to have. The other one that we've got Wednesday. Do any of you guys know Danny Cook?
Woods.
Sorry, Woods. What am I looking at? I must suck Cook. Dan Wood. Do you guys know him? You said you might know him. No?
He was around with was it Rich Robbins or was it
Probably.
Craig, or was it Rob Vivian?
Not sure. But he's another kind of nerdy, cool like marketing guy too. He's in the same kind of sphere as this Andrew guy, but he's going to come in and teach us how to get seller leads. So he's probably going to talk about all the same strategies that I've talked about, Andrew talked about, but maybe just hearing from another perspective is good, and how to follow up with those leads to get more listings. So he's going to be another guy to kind of just watch if you like to listen to those creative marketing guys, but it's nice to have different concepts. So that's Wednesday at 11, not 11:30. So if you guys want to do that, it's webinar.
And it'll be recorded as well. Right?
Yeah, I'll record it. On YouTube.
Good. Perfect. First thing on my list here was the Maple Leafs. I wrote this last Friday. The Maple Leafs finally come 2-1 and they're almost gonna win, and then look at that. So much for a positive mental attitude. I tried to manifest the win, right? But it didn't work quite that way. I was telling the boys here, I think was it one of the games there, I was watching the Blue Jays getting beat like, I don't know, whether like 10-0 or whatever it was. And I'd rather watch that than the Leafs.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you want to talk about? Nobody did open houses, so yeah. Okay, so I've got numbers here. I've got all kinds of stuff there. Okay, let's talk about that. Open houses. So Nelson reminded me that it's open house season. Open houses are coming around. Used to be in the old days there when we didn't I didn't think about those bags, those plastic bags there. We used to have signs. The guys would say to us, "Hey, I'm doing an open house. When are you doing the open house tomorrow? What do you need? I need open house signs." So that was always a big problem years ago. But then we got those plastic bags instead, which I think worked out. We still have an inventory of those, Jenny. Still have inventory. Okay. So if you're gonna do open houses, plan what you're doing. But you got to be careful with different cities, different towns, right? Every town has their own rules. And to be safe, well, you guys tell me. Okay, so in Markham, before COVID, and probably recently again, when they had open houses in Markham every day.
Houses for sale, you can.
And every agent, right? So you drive down there, all you see these open house signs everywhere, and then they started.
Not leading anywhere.
And then yeah, not going anywhere probably too, right? And then there was a guy years ago. They used to remember. I think it was Dave Pearson, Nancy Sears. Going and looking at Ilio here. And they used to farm. Remember Nancy Sears? They used to farm the Huntingwood homes over in Huntingwood. And John Body Homes, I think they're doing McLaughlin Homes, and they would have open house signs at the beginning of the neighborhood and going around the neighborhood. And if you follow the signs, you'd follow and you see all their different signs they had, and then next thing you know, you're out of the neighborhood. There was never an open house. The whole idea was just, and I think these guys at Markham were doing the same thing. I think they're just throwing signs out there anywhere, just two signs doing this and this, and then they started doing the flags. Anyways, they stopped that. Did they stop it? The city was supposed to stop it. Has it been stopped? So what I'm going to say next doesn't make any sense. So what they decided in Markham was that you're not allowed to have an open house sign unless it's the day of the open house. And after the open house, you're supposed to take the signs down, and you're only supposed to have one in front of the house, not out in the streets. But nobody's reading that anyways, right? There's no rules. In Ajax, there's still rules. Ajax, if you put an open house sign anywhere other than on the property itself, then the city will come along and pick them up and steal your signs. They won't fine you, but they won't return your signs. So if you've gone out and you got these special personalized signs out there that you spent, how much does a sign cost, Jenny, for a personal sign, like a A-frame, those $60? So they pick it up and your sign's gone.
The day of the
If it's on public property, yes, in Ajax. So all the other areas in Oshawa and looks like Markham and so on and so forth, looks like you can put open house signs up there. You can't. Some areas you can't put it on the boulevard, but people are doing it anyway. So I'm sort of dancing in between here. Like, what do you do and what's everybody else doing, right? So just be prepared if you put the plastic ones out there. I think their cost what, 4 for $25 or something there, where those signs are. So that's a cost of doing business. It doesn't have your name on it. It has the company name on it, not your name. So nobody can find you anyway. So that's a thought. Ajax, be very particular. And I thought that for sure that Markham was clamping down, but I'm seeing a lot of head shaking here,
Too
and
many people doing terrible things.
it's too many people are doing it. Yeah. Anyway, so be careful with that. What's that?
She's not even that bad. You go by nine blind or Markham Road and Steeles. It's like, whoa.
Markham Road and Steeles.
There's houses, they have literally not even open house, just saying house for sale.
House
No
for sale.
address
Yeah. Yeah, they
associated.
do that too with their
Guys
name on
saying,
it.
I
and
sold
everything.
this many houses, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wow.
So the other issue we're having, and just again, we want to remind you guys, when we're selling properties with tenants, and I don't know why it's so confusing, but it's always confusing, and we always get these questions for tenanted properties. A lot of guys say, well, we gave the notice to the tenant to move out. Why did you give notice to the tenant to move out? Because they're selling the house. Is that a legal reason to evict the tenant? Half the people in the room think it is.
No.
Yeah, right? And, yeah, okay. So just because the seller wants to sell the house, you don't give notice to the tenant to move out because that's not the law. Law says that the only way you can get rid of a tenant is if you're going to use it for your own use, or you sell it to a buyer that's using it for their own use. And then once you've got that established, then you've got to give the proper N12 form. With N12 form, the landlord is liable to give 1 month's rent to the tenant, and there has to be minimum 60 days or 2 months to the end of the, if they're on month to month, it has to be a minimum 2 months notice. If they're on a lease, then you can't get rid of them to the end of the lease, and you have to give notice 2 months before the end of the lease to get out because you're going to use it for yourself. You follow me there?
So even if the.
Correct. Even if the lease is over, you still cannot evict them unless you're moving in yourself. Now we've got some smart people, not us. We have some smart people around, and we sold a house. And if you're selling a house and the buyer's agent, you represent the seller, and the buyer's agent comes to you and says, my buyer wants to buy it for their own use. Okay, fine. Then you're going to give the N12. N12 says, box says that I'm giving you an eviction notice because the buyer intends to use it for their own use. You follow me there? So what the agents should do, what you guys should do when that happens, you need to put something in there saying that the buyer will indemnify the seller if they're lying. Buyer tells us I'm moving in myself. The landlord gives notice to the tenants you're moving in yourself, and next thing you know, the tenant finds out that the buyer didn't move in themselves. They rented the property. They can go back and sue your client for a maximum, I think it's $40,000. And I want to make it $100,000, $40,000 fine. Seller's going to come to you and say, I'm not paying no $40,000. You are. Right? So everybody follow that. So we had a case here where we gave notice to a tenant that the buyer is N12. The buyer said he's going to move in himself, so we gave the proper notice. And then we find out that somehow the tenant and the new buyer connected somehow, and the buyer asked the tenant, "Hey, if you pay more money, I'll rent it to you." So guess what? The tenant's not moving out at all. So now we have a problem, right? So luckily for us, our agent put in the clause saying that in the event that the buyer does not move in themselves and they get themselves in legal difficulties, they're gonna be 100% liable, and my client is not going to be liable for your decisions. So now when things crop out, now it's going to be the buyer's problem, not ours. Everybody follow me there? So if you've got a tenanted property, just, and the guy says it's going to move himself, just protect yourself and do that. So any questions? If they sign at 11, and 11 is like a mutual release, and that's the end of it. Yeah. If you sign at 11, you're
So
finished.
that's accepted.
Yeah. And 11 is a legal document. Any questions?
Difference between N11 and N12.
N12 is notice to the tenant that I'm going to move in myself for my own use. Doesn't require the tenant's signature. It's just a notice saying, hey, you got to move out on this date, and because I'm using myself, or you got to move up at this date because I sold it to somebody who's going to use it themselves.
So it's also sold as well.
Got to give 1 month penalty. Yeah.
It's also sold as well.
Yes, it has to be sold. You can't give N12 until you've sold it.
Sold it.
All right.
And
N11.
you have to give them 1 month rent.
That's right. And then the N11 is a mutual release. N11 says, hey, we mutually agree, regardless of the rules that the tribunal has, we mutually agree to cancel this lease, and it's an end on this date, and that's it. So that's all you need. So the ideal piece of paper is the N11 because the tenant signs that, right?
And they can't renege on that, like if they say, I thought it was that they could.
They can't, no, it's a legal document. They can't renege. I mean, they can renege and get sued, but they can, right? So that being said, the ombudsman came in with a report. I didn't know there was such a person, but I'm not sure if they have any teeth or not. And what they've done is they've looked at it. So the Ontario government has looked at the landlord tenant board to see what the heck's going on with that whole thing. Has anybody had any experiences with the tribunal?
Other than it takes forever.
Other than it takes forever? Sorry, I wasn't gonna talk about this now, but I will now anyways. Okay, so the Ombudsman for Ontario was asked to look into the whole tribunal thing to see if they have any suggestions how to make it better. And they came in with 61 recommendations. And so prior to the, okay, so total complaints about total complaints. So the people complained about the LTV. And the whole gist of it for Ontario Real Estate Association ourselves, most of our clients are ma and pa investors that they've rented these places out. These guys don't pay the rent for whatever reason. That means mom and pa has to make that mortgage payment. It's not like the corporation. It's not like purpose-built buildings when you're dealing with Greenwind or something. You don't do, multimillionaires or big corporation, you deal with mom and pa. So the thing, these guys are getting clobbered by these people here. So total complaints that they complaint to the board prior to, actually between 2018 2019, there's 471 complaints to the landlord tenant board saying you guys aren't doing a good enough job, right? You're too slow, whatever it might be. But from January 2020 to April 23, it went from 471 complaints to 4,345 complaints.
New landlords.
Right? So everybody's complaining. Percentage of complaints received by the landlords, 84%. Received by the tenants, 12%. Applications received per year, 80,000 applications per year for these people, and they've got a backlog of 20,000 in 2020. Backlog today is 38,000.
How many?
38,000 cases are in backlog.
I thought they were hiring more people.
It takes a ton.
Last week they announced them.
Yeah, this
Last week,
last week.
but you just don't. All right, you don't just hire them, right? Average time for the scheduled landlord's application is as of March 23, the average schedule, just a schedule, 6 to 9 months. Average time for a tenant application up to 2 years. So I guess that's advantage to the landlords. Then they go in here saying a couple living with on the disability support sought compensation from their landlord for water damage. They did not get a hearing. This is 2021. They didn't get a hearing until 2022. This is a tenant complaint, right? A tenant who had health issues due to her landlord's harassment, unkept property, asked for a hearing in December 2020. Still hasn't got it as of April. So we finally got it in April 22. So that was 2 years for the tenant. But I want to get back to a landlord here. A 74-year-old landlord. This is what goes on, right? 74-year-old landlord applied to have an evicted tenant in December 2019 who assaulted him and damaged the property. So the person assaulted the landlord. I guess they live in the same place, right? The order. So that was December 2019. The issue for to get out wasn't issued till 2021. So this guy had to live with this creep for 2 years, right? Anyways, there's a whole bunch of these examples here where some guy didn't pay rent. It took 2 years to get money back.
Hire a lawyer.
Get a paralegal, get right on and make sure the paper's right. What are REIA saying or Toronto Real Estate Board is saying to the Ombudsman and to the Landlord Tenants Board that, okay, so I've experienced this personally when I was a kid. Anybody gone to the old days when you had your driver's license, you had to renew your driver's plates or your driver's license?
Yeah.
You stand in line with 50 other people.
Yeah.
Get to the booth and the girl says, "Oh, you forgot to fill out this line." Go back of the line. So you had to go to the back of the line, fill it out, and stand in line again and wait. Did anybody do this? Is that my experience? Anybody else do that too? So Trev is saying that with the landlord tenant board, it's the same thing. Says, why is it that the landlord, mom and pop landlord missed something in the application? When they do that, landlord says, back of the line. Right? And it's just a form. That's why she'll say you need to hire a paralegal or a lawyer to do this, because not the typical guy could do that.
And they're not expensive, paralegal is not.
Right? So it's interesting how all that
cheap it
comes
is.
down.
Couple of $1,000.
It's a couple $1,000 to get rid of somebody, right?
One year lease, provided 90-day notice to the new rent. That like whatever the amount of government stipulated. If you forget and you do it a little bit late, you do it a month late, does that mean the following year you also have to do it a month late? Or still go back?
I don't know. If you're a month late, then it's a month later to increase the rent. So no, the lease would still be, well, now they're on month to month. I assume they're on month to month, so they still have to give 90 days before they increase the rent. There's no,
You have to wait a full year.
yeah, you have to wait a full year, and then you have to give notice again 90 days before.
But is your question related to the date, right? I just want to ensure that I have to wait for the full year.
But if you miss by one, you don't have to wait a full year to increase the rent. You just have to wait another 30 days.
Yeah.
And then after that, a full year after that again. So you can only increase it once a year, right? Be firm with your decisions. This is a good one too. Did you hear this morning here with this owner of a condominium rented it out to a tenant. The tenant applied for the city to get a license for Airbnb, and the tenant was renting out this Airbnb and didn't even own the place.
Did tenant get the license?
Tenant got the license.
Oh,
Toronto, baby.
They just made the application to the city, and this is what the owner is saying. Doesn't the city have some obligation to check to see that the people have authorization to buying this unit? That's the whole purpose of the article. She's saying, what's going on here? The city,
are you allowed to limit Airbnb?
the building itself does not allow Airbnbs.
It's my first day. I thought it was okay.
But the complaint is with the city. The complaint is the city allowed the license.
That's like top down. How do you stop it if that's?
Condominium won't allow it either.
Yeah, so then how can they get a license?
That's her question.
No, was this condominium? Was it clear? Is that a condominium or rental?
It's condominium. Condominium.
Doesn't matter by law, they're leasing it.
But
They
most
lease, they
buildings
have
have
it.
requirement that minimum 6 months
Yeah.
lease.
Yeah.
Yes,
But anyways, the city gave them a license for Airbnb.
so if he's got a license, he can just do it one to one?
Anybody that wants Airbnb has to have a license, right?
Yeah, no, but they can go one only?
We're not talking about that part. So I mean, it has to be 28 days, has to be all the special rules that are there, right?
Not the 6 months like. the rules.
No, because the tenant was saying, I lived in it and I'm renting out a room.
A room you can rent it for sure.
Not if you, but not if you don't own it and the building doesn't allow it, right?
Yeah.
So the whole point of it was why is the city giving licenses without talking to the owner? That's the whole point. Might as well let the tenant sell the place while they're at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, isn't it by law that you lease it, you have a lease in there, it seems like a commercial. You lease a store, you do whatever you want.
Sublease without the landlord's approval though.
Yeah, I know, but the.
Yeah, you can't sublease without having the landlord's approval, right? That's like what they're doing there too. So
That's what it says in the original. Then what-
anyway, so who wants some good news?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Who wants some good news? Sales as of May 7th. Or do you want to talk about April? April's over.
April's done.
April's over, right? I don't want to talk about
Forget
April.
about it.
First 7 days in May. Right now, we've got 11,080 listings. We started the month off with less than that. We started the month off with 10,373. So we've got in 1 week, we've got almost 400, 500 new listings. So that's good news. The sales, we've got 2,021 sales as of the first 7 days in May. First 7 days in May last year, we had 1,733. We're actually increased by plus 16%. 16. first 7 days in May. If I split that up to condominiums, we've got 763. Last year we sold 612 condominiums, are up 24% from May of last year. And the freeholds are 1,258 versus 1,121 last year. So freeholds are up 12% from this time last year. We're
So what
talking,
is 16?
we're talking about units, right? 16% is the average between the freeholds and the condos both combined. So that's good news.
Condos, how much?
24%. That's only 7 days, right? But it's still encouraging. And this is what the newspapers are going to start talking about soon. You'll start hearing about this. Now, the backstory, of course, is last 2 years ago, in 2021, we had we had like 12,000 sales. And if anybody's keeping track, in the last couple of months, we had maybe 7,000, 7,900 sales. But in 2021, we had 12,000 sales. So in May of 22, the sales were actually down 40% from the year before. So I'm not surprised that sales this year are higher by 16% than last year, because last year was really bad.
Yeah, it's just base year, really.
But you got to put these words, you got to take this information and you got to put it in a situation that suits you. So spin it.
Wag the dog, right?
Mr. Buyer, you're waiting for the prices to drop before you buy, right? If you look at the stats will show that the prices from last year, or actually for April, the actual prices are down 7%, 7.8%, right, from last year.
Close to 28% double.
I'm talking about the units, right? I'm talking about prices now.
Prices were down 28% double.
That's right. So now it's only -7. So we've gone from like -47 to -38, -16, now -7, right? But it's actually up 4% from last month. And the average price from January, February, March, April has gone up about $150,000 average price
From January.
from January. So January today, the price is up and the units are up. So these are all good things. So you've got buyers out there that have said what? They want to wait for the market to go down. It already happened. It's already too late.
Yeah, that part.
The horse already left the barn. The prices have already gone up and the market's already taken off. So if you've got any buyers that are sitting there thinking they want to wait, it's too late.
No, now.
Actually, it's not too late.
Now they're saying that basically it's not that they're waiting for inventory that they would like to pay for.
Okay, all right.
Buy it.
I should say it's late. We're not finished yet, right? So the prices are still going up. So if somebody's thinking about doing it, then whatever reason they had before, they might want to think about it today. So that's encouraging, right? The market's going on like that. On the lease side, the leases are actually up 9%. Condo leases are up 10%. Freehold leases are up 13%. So we're into a bit of a spring market. How long does the spring market last?
I don't think it lasts very long. I think it's a short lived, man.
On your Toronto MLS, if anybody here that has joined different boards, have anybody joined ITSO? Is anybody here still members of ITSO? So now effective soon. The Barrie board has now joined us. The Northumberland board already joined us.
How about Peterborough?
The Brampton board has joined us. The Peterborough is talking about joining us. They haven't done it yet. And the Quinte board is starting to join us. So pretty soon we're going to have all access to all this. You don't necessarily have to do that inter-board stuff. Hopefully it's going to be all Ontario. But we're fighting, Treb is fighting ITSO. So I'm not sure how it's going to happen in the end, but they're starting to pick them off a little bit at a time. ITSO is the matrix system that boards outside Toronto use. Right? So it's okay with that. So you've got all these other boards that are going. You got Brampton board, you got the Quinte board, and they're all starting to join us. So that's all good. 50%, 57% of all GTA neighborhoods, the sale price is over the list price. 57%.
What's that?
57% of all neighborhoods are selling more than the asking price, and that's engineered prices, right?
On average.
So we're doing that on purpose, right? So if this guy here took the medium prices, not the average prices, medium prices are prices that 50% of the prices are above this number, 50% are below this number. It's not an average, it's just the medium price. Everybody remembers that from school. Remember mode in grade 6 math?
Good enough. Good to know.
No?
Good enough.
You never know. Anyway, so based on the mode numbers, one of the biggest producers over the last month were Raymorville. 24%. The next one was the Danforth, and then the Percy Village. And then Devonsley in Richmond Hill and Cachet in Markham. These places are all up significantly. First one is Raymorville, which is Markham. The lowest ones, negatives, medium price, are actually Parkdale, which I'm surprised because I just read something that Parkdale, some builders building I think it's like a 60-story or can't remember, 60 or 80-story new condo right in Parkdale. So that'll be right in the area. Anyways, and then Milton's down 7%. Oakville's down. Oakville's down quite a bit. Yeah, and Chaplin Estates. And then Oakville down. Supply and demand impacts fuels competition. So they're saying that there's just not enough inventory out there. And I've heard that time and time again, saying there's not enough inventory. Your buyers, somebody said here that a buyer's saying the same thing. There's not enough inventory to buy.
What they want to pay for, they have come to terms with that's what they gotta settle for, I guess. I think there's better stuff to come out, and that's what they're really waiting for, a better product. For the people to figure.
Wow. Do anybody remember what I talked about a couple weeks ago or last week about new home builders, how the new home builders were down? Do you remember that number I was talking about? I haven't got it here. I'm just gonna off the top of my head here, but the Ontario government wants to build 150,000 homes per year over the next 10 years. That's their mandate. But I'm reading the builder stuff, and the builder sales are down like 60%, down 70%. They're saying that they're not building and they're holding off condominiums. They don't want to build condominiums, they're holding off. So I'm thinking about, is it a supply situation? Like, you would think that if there's so much supply out there, why would a builder not be building? If there's so much demand. So I just wonder whether the supply thing is a bit of a.
They make more money by doing it the way they're doing it.
Want affordable housing, right?
Especially if they can like,
So I guess, so it's just not an inventory problem, it's affordable income.
if the builder can sit on the land, they can just sit on the land.
Because the builder's concerned about prices, and I guess like buyers aren't going to pay the prices because of high interest rates, but then their costs have gone up too, but it doesn't help. The Ontario government's trying to build 150,000 units, and the builders are saying we're not doing it because we can't make any money doing it. So something has to, I don't know, something has to break somewhere.
Cost of construction has skyrocketed. So
You know what, cost of, yes, they have, yes.
supply and demand of the materials.
The labor also too, want to get paid more.
I talk about this every time. Do you guys have any clients yet that are concerned about buying pre-construction and maybe not being able to afford to close because of the higher interest rates and because of appraisals? Has anybody seen that yet? There's lots of people writing about it, but I haven't seen anybody doing anything about it yet.
But
You got a couple of you got some clients that are in situations. What's their backup plan? Do you have any idea? Pay the penalty to get out, you mean? What's the penalty for? Really? Okay. And they're prepared to do that. All right. So Mel here's got a client that the clients bought 2 units and they're prepared to lose the deposit and pay the difference between the price today and tomorrow, or higher, lower, or something there. But you know, that's too bad.
For the assignment.
See, this is the problem now. So on the assignments, anybody else that got a couple of the assignments
You
are,
gotta come up with a lot of cash tied up and see if it's gonna go a long time and stuff, unless you're getting a really good deal.
I don't know.
How are they? But how?
Studio for what?
The studio?
so with all these, so I missed that part.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Oh, it's like 300, 400 square feet. It'll eventually get there though.
Yeah.
Just gotta hold on to it.
Just hold on to it, buddy. Just hold it. Just hold it. That's survivorship bias.
Well, no, it's $1 million for a studio. A studio's like 400, 500 square feet. Was
That.
300.
300, what, $1 million? I've never heard that price. Must be this at Four Seasons or Yorkville?
High-end buildings. New York.
I was gonna say, it's gotta be Yorkville, so.
But that's the building that has it like this, they're well under construction.
Okay, now this is, anybody read Blog TO? Is anybody familiar with Blog TO at all? It's kind of an obscure little thing there. Anyways, it's written by a bunch of left wingers as far as I can see, but I just talked about all the positive things about real estate, and Blog TO says Toronto house prices have tanked by $100,000 in the last year. So that's the headline in this one here. So how could you use that to your favor, right? If you've got a seller that's trying to sell their place and it's not selling, prices have dropped, $100,000. Prices are down 7% from last year, maybe not 100,000, but certainly in some
That's
neighborhoods.
from last year, April, not from February.
They're saying the last year.
No, I'm talking about the prices are down 7% from April to April.
That's right.
Not from February to April. February was the peak time.
Correct. But these guys here are just saying that compared to the same time last year, prices down 100,000.
Just use your number.
You make whatever you want, right?
7% is $100,000.
Okay, good. All right. So I know why they're doing that. So anyways, the take is that negatives. How could you use that? How can you use that? You can use that, I guess, you got a property sitting there that's not selling and the seller thinks he can get this February price and you think, hey, the price has dropped 100 grand, my friend. You're not even
I
close.
don't think anybody wants February price.
I think everybody wants February prices.
They're educated.
I don't know. There's a home builder, Stateview, that a lot of people bought in these units here. They're up in Unionville and stuff. They're these townhouses. And it's called Stateview. And some of the projects that they're working on would be, there's a Minu Towns,
That one right next to.
Nao Towns, N-A-O, sorry, N-A-O,
Now Towns.
Now Towns.
Not now.
Sorry, Clark, why not? On the Mark, High Crown Estates, B Towns and Barry. Anyways, these guys here got caught and they're blaming it on their controller. Controller stole something like, I want to say 57, but let's say $37 million.
40 million kiting.
And they were taking money, they're passing bum checks or something. They're taking checks, going to TD Bank, cashing the check. TD gave them the cash and then TD found out later on that the check bounced. And they did this multiple times. Anyways, the owner's saying it's got nothing to do with them. It's got to do with the controller. They're going to pay all the money back and they're going to try to complete these constructions. And that's what they said. And then nothing to do with us. And then 5 days later, they agreed to bankruptcy. So I've had calls already from people. You get any calls yet, Nelson? No, I've had calls from people. Controller's been fired. I hope he's going to go to jail, but some people have 250,000. Some people have $150,000 deposits on these units.
But that money was not in trust account.
No, these are builders, right? So when you buy something from the builder, there's no realtor. The money gets paid to the builder. Terrion has a $40,000 protection for your deposit. But if you put $150,000, I'm not sure. And what I've read sounds bad, but some point I think that these people would be considered unsecured creditors and they'd go in with everybody
You
else.
could get insurance in that as well in the future.
Don't know if you can get insurance
I
or
read
not.
somewhere that you could get insurance in the deposit.
Yeah, so if you got any clients, I'm reading stuff here that the company that's taken over the bankruptcy, the trustee that's taken over has plans to complete construction and to sell the units to their clients
At the same prices that they paid.
at whatever they could continue the project. So I think that's the bottom line. And these guys here saying that if they've lost any money, they'll pay the money back. So it's not to worry about. It's certainly concerning, but they need to talk to the lawyers to get an official. I'm just reading what the papers have. The four I just said, yeah, they're just little townhouse complex up in Markham. Good. Realm stuff. There's everyone been practicing the realm. So everyone using realm. You're starting to do that now. You see a couple of heads doing their. You want to start doing it more than not, right? No ways to learn it now. It's going to happen in what? November, I think it is. They're going to switch. I don't mind realm. Moisture using realm. Do you find it okay? It's okay, right? Sometimes it's better. Yeah. Okay. The other thing on the realm, if you set up your client can search for sold properties, right? So, if you've got a client that's going to Home Sigma, for instance, there, well, you can go to this area and get better information through this site here, getting the sold information as well as the sales information, and they can do their own searches. So you've got that on realm. Learn it yourself first, I guess, and then go from there. We do have the realm training that we sent, and it's available on our Google Drive someplace there, so get some idea, but that will be coming sooner than later. Last week we did the ad edit, and this connects with realm as well. So we've got the new ad edit. Has anybody tried that yet, or same thing but different, right? I mean, it's the same, ask for the same information, but it's just looks different. Easily update, edit. So the mandatory fields we talked about for realm right now is the PIN number. You got to have that PIN number in there. That's going to be a mandatory field, and you can get that through Geo Warehouse. It's not a big thing there, right? But when you broker load in, you put the PIN number, it'll auto populate some of the information on the listing, so you can take advantage of that. And realm as well is going to. It's actually a bigger picture than what's on the surface. So I spoke last week about open offers. Remember, we've got the Trust and Real Estate Act, which they've delayed a little bit. The Trust and Real Estate Act will allow us to, when it comes through, it allows us to share the contents of all other people's offers in a multiple offer situation. It's not affected today, but it's just a matter of them pushing the button. It's going to happen. So a couple of weeks back, I was looking into a thing called open offer, which was offered by Korea. And Korea is all across Canada, right? And the open offer platform, from what I read, was at $50 a month. And did you do any more, Corey? Did you talk to those guys at all? Anyways, it was there, and I had the problem with it because I can't see anybody paying $600 a year for this program, because how many times do you do multiple offers? I just couldn't see that happening. And I also couldn't see how the buying agent would have to participate and him pay for this platform as well. But I think I read what you can give him a link. So it doesn't have to pay for it. Yeah, open offer. But then I'm into SkySlope. And SkySlope looks like it's the better alternative rather than open offers. Whatever I said on open offer, maybe open offer, it came from Australia. Maybe open offer is better if you're going to use it for an auction type situation. So that's right. This program, open offer, is an Australian program that they use in Australia. So I've just taken that Australia software and brought it to Canada. But now Treb again, so open offer is all Canada, it's Korea. So Treb is, they'll come up with SkySlope. And SkySlope right now, you've got your SkySlope forms, and you've got your SkySlope DigiSign. DigiSign is the same as Authentisign, the same as DocuSign. So if for some reason people are paying for DocuSign, what's DocuSign? $150 a year or something? Or how much is DocuSign? 170. 170 per year with a corporate discount, right? Authentisign is free, and now we have DigiSign, which is free. So DigiSign is part of SkySlope. So if you haven't tried DigiSign and you don't like Authentisign because you're into DocuSign, maybe consider DigiSign. And DigiSign, I think, is going to be in the future. I think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be a better program. So what SkySlope has, they have a second part called SkySlope Offers, and what SkySlope Offers is going to do, and they haven't even processed it yet. It's gonna happen soon. You can actually, as an agent, was that you got that? Was it SkySlope? You showed me place an offer. So on SkySlope, when you look at the offer and say, hey, might people want to put an offer on this property through in your Toronto MLS, you're going to put whatever the button says, put an offer in. You're going to hit a button, put an offer in. You're going to upload your offer to the thing, and then the listing agent's going to get that through SkySlope. So rather than emailing an offer directly to the agent like we do now, upload it to SkySlope. The listing agent will see it. Multiple offer situation. This guy does the same. This guy does the same. It all gets on the same platform, and everybody can see everybody else's offers.
But do you have a right to stop it?
Yes, you still the same rules. Still the same rules.
So if you don't want to let
Your seller
everybody block
can say, I don't want to do that. No problem.
it, you can block it.
The seller can say, I want to do it, but I don't want to show everybody's prices. Okay, fine. I want to do it, but I don't want to show who the buying agents are. That's fine. I want to do it, but I only want to show the closing date. You can decide what you're going to show. But in a multiple offer situation, everybody's going to be fair, thinking that they all see the same thing. So, and you can accept the offer through the DigiSign on this platform right there. So it's a bigger picture than what we're used to, but I think it's going to be a better solution. So I'm not going to talk about open offer anymore. We're going to talk more about the sky slope offers, and we'll go down that road and we'll create those things. If it sounds complicated, it's not, but it all intertwines with the realm, and that's so that the sooner you get on the realm, the sooner you get into the sky slope, it'll be easier for you. Make any sense? As a listing agent, I'm not sure I want to tell the buying agent what the other offers are.
Probably a serious issue with that, or we don't finding offer.
So I was okay. I'm a little odd. Okay, so I was reading something about the Flatiron building in New York City. Why? I don't know why. Anyways, they were going bankrupt, so they put this building up for auction. And the building should have sold for $50 million. The building actually sold for $119 million. And what happened is the guy that owned it, the guy who was going bankrupt, he got his friend to bid $190 million. And as soon as his friend won, nobody saw the guy ever again. The guy disappeared. So now they delayed the process. But so my question to you is, like, in an auction type situation, why wouldn't I get my friend to pretend he has a buyer and jack up the price and get everybody into the.
Well, how do you protect it from that?
You can do it now, but it could be even worse, right? Because now it's in black and white. So therefore it has legitimacy, right? It's legitimacy. Like the, Pravesh has an offer for this amount here, and then all of a sudden, he jacks it up, and then all of a sudden he disappears, right? I think I don't know. I think it's very naive. I think that these guys here, like they're not in the street level of what's going on in the real world. I think they're very naive.
Be dangerous.
Or maybe I'm too smart. I don't know.
What if it's smart if you go up and see like what everybody?
But it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I mean, I remember Percy telling me stories when he sold real estate in the old days there, and in one particular case, he's told me that somebody had a price for sale. So the guy, I wanted to buy it, so I'd get my friend here, put an offer in, but low ball offer, like really low. And the guy goes, throw it away, and then I'd get my other friend, put an offer in, and make it a low offer, put in a low offer.
And then send
Another guy, low offer, and then finally I come with my offer, which is a little bit more than these guys, still low offer, but still higher than these guys, then I win. because all the owner is seen as this low offer, low offer, low offer. Mine's a little bit higher than their offers. You understand? So this is what happens in the street level.
Trust in real estate.
Trust in real estate, yeah.
Better.
Realtor requests, is anybody going to do realtor requests? There's 2 days. I got a little confused myself there. I thought that November 17th and 18th is realtor requests, and the general meeting is also on the 17th. I thought maybe the general meeting was the day before, but no, it's all at the same time. So the general meeting is on the 17th, and realtor request is also on the 17th to the 18th. If you want, you can sign up for it, and you get a QR code, or you get some kind of, whatever you get there. Yeah, you get a QR code. I'm sure you put the QR code on your phone, and you go to Realtor Quest and just put your QR code, and that's your ticket. It's not free. You guys, they're gonna tell you it's free, but it seems to me, I'm pretty sure you guys all spend $1,000 for your Trev dues. Right? And rather than making it $500 your Trev dues, they've done this Realtor Quest and called it free.
And Trevor Noah, don't forget Trevor. Don't forget Trevor.
And what they're going to vote on is they got all this money. They created what, prop tech company, because they're making too much money. They're supposed to be a not-for-profit company, so they created a for-profit company called Prop Tech. And now because they've done that, they want you to vote on their ability to increase our dues by the cost of living every year. And they're saying that we don't have to do it. We want the permission from the membership to have the option to do it. So that's what they're going to vote on at the AGM meeting. And remind you again about mandatory fill. So right now on your ad edit, you've got your PIN numbers, which are mandatory. And June 1st, what's going to be mandatory is the room measurements. Katelyn did a little session there on how to measure a room. I don't know if you want to republish that or refine it. I have a question here. I don't expect anybody to be honest, but I'll ask the question anyways. Who here measures the houses themselves?
Take a measurement.
Thank you. So I can only assume the rest of people copied from the previous listing.
As per seller.
As per seller. And
30,000.
you've all seen those offers and those listings saying that the buyers to verify measurements and the buyer's agent to verify measure, that's all crap. That's like me saying it's okay to drive through that red light. Right? You still can't do it, right? Square footage is also going to be mandatory, but that's not going to be mandatory until July 1st. And we're waiting for TREB to give us the tools to put the square footage on. They said in here they're investigating on what type of tool we have to be able to get the square footage. And whether the square footage would be exact or would be a range. I think for legality reasons, it's going to be a range like we have already. And we'll let TREB figure that out. Otherwise, the listing agent's going to have to spend the $5 and get the square footage from your warehouse. For those people that have foreign buyers, they've relaxed the rules a little bit for foreign buyers. When they had that 2-year foreign buyer ban.
Yeah.
Now they've lightened up a little bit so that if somebody's actually here on a work permit and has 180 days left on it, then it's okay. Before they had to have filed taxes for the previous 3 or 4 years to be able to qualify to buy something. They've also eliminated vacant land. Anybody can buy vacant land and anybody can develop land. So they've done things to make it easier. Anybody can buy vacant land. Don't know. Don't know because pre-con, do you buy it today and it doesn't get built for 4 years? So when anybody have any experience with that? Anybody have experience on that? I'm not sure. The question is, can a non-resident buy pre-construction today? I'm guessing no.
Well, what if it's those same situation where they can do it and somebody's gotta say no?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? See, Ontario sees residential building permits decrease after the pandemic highs. This is what I'm talking about before. All the building permits have actually decreased, and the government's trying to get everybody to build more houses, whereas the building permits have actually decreased. But they were actually talking about those, not necessarily the whole houses. They're talking about people doing extensions, decks, finished basements, basement apartments, things like that. Those things are all down quite a bit. And does anybody have any friends that are in the construction business? Are they busy or not busy? Not as busy or
Small
leveled off just a little bit? And then Toronto can't wait. When's the election for Toronto? This goes back to housing again, right? Is it June? Okay, when did Tory leave? March? Okay, so we're in this housing crisis and nobody's made any decisions because there's no mayor.
Sounds like a world class.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't get that. Like they're supposed to make decisions. Okay, well, go ahead and you build that 80 story skyscraper, or go ahead and build this or build that. It needs the council. Nobody's voting on anything because they're waiting. Ford made the decision, but it's still up to the individual. Ford give the mayors the power to make the decision to override all these other guys. Can you believe that Olivia Chow might be the next mayor?
Right? She's not even there. Oh, well, that guy.
Okay, and then finally, good news. Canada's population is going to hit $40 million on June 1st. Sorry, 40 million people on June 1st.
Is it good? Oh,
In Canada.
Canada. So it means
40 million people in Canada.
How many Costco memberships is that?
We just have to find a place to put everybody. Good. Okay, anybody questions? Anybody properties you want to talk about?
I think now Team Solo partnered up with the beer store, so we're inviting everyone to donate their empties on Saturday, May 27th. We're gonna be at Whiteshield Plaza location at Kenny and Lawrence. So kindly drink heavily, responsibly, and come donate.
Where's the free beer?
We can go through the empties and just see if there's anything left in there.
So for those people at home, Aaron's doing a bottle drive.
Yeah.
Aaron Solomos and Team Solomos doing the bottle drive at Solomon. Is it Solomos or Solomos?
Solomon. See Solomon.
I do that on purpose.
Solomon.
So the White Shield Plaza, which is at Kenny Road and Lawrence.
Gonna volunteer, bottles.
What's the charity?
It's, oh, sorry, it's the leukemia bottle drive.
Leukemia. That's this Saturday,
Saturday, May 7th.
27th. Okay.
Thank you.
So I have a day party. I want a day party last night.
Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? No. Okay, so this Wednesday at 11 o'clock, not 11:30, 11 o'clock, we've got Dan Wood. And he's going to talk about more about the more seller leads. Anybody want more seller leads? Is he doing through social media again or through
He'll probably do a mix. That's
Mix?
Probably gonna give us kind of different ideas.
Okay, so
And
just,
he's gonna do a follow-up system for them.
okay, so in a follow-up system. So have a look at that as well and have a look at the one we did last week and we're done. The market is going to pick up. Yeah, we're in the spring market. Okay, take care.
That'd be ridiculous.